Ladies and gentlemen, some very important news late on December 21st is going to shock baseball fans from Toronto to Oakland to New York and worldwide. One of the greatest players of all time, a World Series champion with Oakland, a World Series champion with Toronto, has passed away. According to CBC through AP, Hall of Famer Rickey Henderson, baseball stolen base king, and again, a Blue Jay legend, has died at the age of 65. The Man of Steel won 2 World Series titles, including the 93 title with the Blue Jays. Now, Hall of Famer Rickey Henderson, according to AP, the brash speedster who shattered stolen base records and redefined baseball's leadoff position, has passed away. He was 65. He died on Friday. The Athletic said Saturday they were shocked and heartbroken by his passing, but did not specify a cause of death. Known as baseball's Man of Steel, Henderson had a lengthy list of accolades and accomplishments over his momentous and nomadic 25-year career, an MVP, 10 All-Star selections, 2 World Series titles, including one to Blue Jays in '93, and a Golden Glove. Rickey was simply the best player ever played with. He could change the outcome of the game in so many ways, said Don Mattingly. Henderson's teammates with the Yankees from 85 to 89 made the comment. It puts a smile on my face just thinking about him. I will miss my friend. It was stealing bases where Henderson made his name and dominated the sport like no other. He broke through with 100 steals in his first full season in Majors 1980, topping Ty Cobb's AL single-season record with Billy Martin's Billy Ball Oakland Athletics. He barely slowed playing for 9 franchises over the next 2 decades. He eventually broke Lou Brock's single-season record of 118 by stealing 130 in 82 and led the league in steals for 7 straight seasons and had 12 overall. He surpassed Brock's career record when he stole his 939 base on May 1st, 91 for Oakland and famously pulled third base out of the ground and showed it off the adoring crowd before giving a speech that he capped by saying, "Lou Brock was a great base stealer, but today I am the greatest of all time." He wasn't lying either. Rickey Henderson could have easily stolen as many bases as he wanted to do, and his strike zone was minuscule, so that helped him at the plate to get on to steal the bases. Now, he finished his career with 1,406 steals. His 468 steal edge over Brock matches the margin between Brock and Jimmy Rollins, who was in 46th place with 470. He's the greatest leadoff hitter of all time, and I'm not sure there's a close second, former A's executive Billy Beane said. Now, I would get to 162. That's a famous line. He said in September he would have had many more steals in his career and in a record-breaking 82 season if rules introduced in 223 to limit pickoff throws and increase the size of the bases had overlapped with his career. If I was playing today, I would get 162 right now without a doubt, he said. Because if they had had that rule, you can only throw over there twice. You know how many times you would be throwing over there twice and they'd be going, shoot, can you all send him to third? Give him 2 bases and send him to third. That would be me. And literally, ladies and gentlemen, I saw one game. He threw 15 times the first base and then he stole the next 2 bases. Now, Henderson's accomplishment that record-breaking day in 91 was slightly overshadowed that night when Nolan Ryan threw his record 7 career no-hitter. Henderson already had been Ryan's 5,000 career strikeout victim, which led him to say, "If you haven't been struck out by Nolan Ryan, you're nobody." That was clearly not the case for Henderson. He's also the career leader in runs scored with 2,295 and in leadoff home runs with 81, ranked second to Barry Bonds with 2,190 walks, and is fourth in games played with 3,081, and plate appearances 13,346. He finished his career with 3,055 hits over 25 seasons, spent with Oakland, who he played with several times, the Yankees, the Toronto, San Diego, Anaheim, the New York Mets, Seattle, Boston, and the LA Dodgers. He finally finished his career with the Dodgers at age 44 in 2003 by scoring a run in his final play on a major league field. He's the third prominent baseball Hall of Famer with ties to the Bay Area who died this year, following the deaths in June of former Giant star Willie Mays and Orlando Cepeda. Now, Henderson was a rare position player who batted from the right side and threw with his left arm, but then again, everything about Henderson was unique. He batted out of an extreme crouch, making for a tighter strike zone that contributed to a high walk total. He struck fear in opponents with his aggressive leads off first, his fingers twitching between his legs inside his batting gloves as he eyed the pitcher and the next base. Born on Christmas Day in '58 in Chicago in the back of his parents' Chevy, Henderson grew up in Oakland and developed into a star athlete. He played baseball, basketball, and football at Oakland Tech High School and was a highly sought-after football recruit who could have played tailback at Southern California, where he could have played eventually with Football Hall of Famer Marcus Allen. Now, but Henderson said his mother loved baseball and thought it would be a safer career in a decision that proved to be on the ball. She didn't want her baby to get hurt. Henderson told the San Francisco Chronicle in 2019, "I was mad, but she was smart. Overall, with the career longevity and success I had, she made the right decision. Some of the players in football now have short careers and you can barely move around when they're done." Selected in the fourth round of the 76 amateur draft by his hometown A's, and he made his major league debut in '79 with 2 hits and, of course, 1 stolen bases. He became the star for the A's the following season and remained in Oakland through '84 before being traded to the Yankees. He was part of some talented teams in New York that never made the postseason. In '85, he scored 146 runs in 143 games to go along with league-leading 80 steals and 24 homers, helping start the 80-20 club that season with Cincinnati's Eric Davis. He was traded back to Oakland in June '89, leading to his greatest successes. He topped the AL that season with 113 runs, 126 walks, and 77 steals, was named the ALCS MVP, and helped lead the A's to the World Series title in the Bay Bridge Series against the Giants. He then won the AL MVP the following season for Oakland before they lost the World Series in 1990 to Cincinnati. He set the career steals record in '91 and then was traded 2 years later to Toronto, where he won his second World Series. He spent the final decade of his career bouncing around the majors and still led the AL with 66 steals and 118 walks at age 39 with Oakland in '98. In 2007, the A's named their playing surface ringer at Rickey Henderson Field at the Oakland Coliseum in his honor. When you're old and gray, sitting around with your buds talking about your career in baseball, you're going to talk about Rickey, said Ron Guidry, another of Henderson's former Yankees teammates. He was just amazing to watch. There were great outfielders, there were great base stealers, there were great home run hitters. Rickey was a combination of all those players. He did things out there on the field that the rest of us dreamed of. Now, ironically, the most significant moment I saw Henderson play was the important Game 4 against the Phillies in the 1993 World Series. Toronto had fell behind, but with Henderson there, the announcer basically said, "With Henderson on your team, the game's never over." And we came back. We won 15-14, one of the longest and most strangest offensive games in all time. Rickey Henderson, to me, was the best overall player I ever saw for hitting, for defense, motivating his teammates. And ladies and gentlemen, all the great black athletes of the 1980s and 1990s owe a lot to Rickey Henderson. Without Rickey Henderson, there would be no Deion Sanders, there would be no Tony Gwynn. He paved the way for the modern black athlete. The era after Reggie Jackson, I talk it like the 1980 onward. The black athletes were changing in the early 80s. And Rickey Henderson, long before Cuba Gooding Jr., was showing him money. He was paid well for being, again, to me, he's a top 10 baseball player of all time. And he would have done a lot more, but the small strike zone maybe took away. So he could hit home runs, he could, play the field, and I'm really going to miss him. It's a shock tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I've been very happy the last couple of days. One of my distant cousins, Alexandre Corrier, is now playing with the Montreal Canadiens. So to hear this tonight and do this podcast, it's very shocking. So rest in peace, Rickey. Maybe you and Ty Cobb and Gil Hodges can do Field of Dreams too. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Rickey Henderson, you're an amazing guy, and I'm sorry I never met you. But if I met you, I say 2 words: thank you. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you're doing with our baseball tributes, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.